Hey guys, today I want to just talk about the high legend meta and talk about what exactly am I playing. I think there's often a kind of a thing of, well, this is good at top 1000. You look at statistics, and sometimes players even feel like, well, this is good at top 1000, but not good at top 100. Now, I'm just going to be talking about and sort of suggesting what decks you can kind of play all the way to the top. You can get to the highest of ranks with and what are people actually playing at top 100 legend, at top 50 legend. Now if you watch my stream, I'm almost always in top 50 legend, usually in top 25, but about 60% of the time. So I'm playing top players all the time, and so these are players who are actually winning, because if you're not winning in top 100, you're going to get out of top 100 real fast. And you can see here I have basically, I've set my stats to cover all my games between when the nerfs went. Actually, I excluded day one because day one had a bunch of bad decks, and only sort of the second day. And you could see, if you didn't see, Rogue is king. Rogue is so popular for like it literally is over double the next class. Rogue has literally 4 archetypes right now, and they're all number 1 legend ready. I've seen players get number 1 legend with Quest Rogue. I've seen other players get Poison Rogue, number 1 legend with the Thief Rogue and Garrote Rogue, and multiple players. Like, it's so good. Somebody joked in chat, you could run 30 cards in Scabs and you'd have a number 1 legend ready deck. Rogue is busted, and this is what the reality of every person who had played Rogue knew. Scabs was busted. I said it at the beginning. It's just a broken card, and it's going to get nerfed. Like, Blizzard isn't going to have Rogue be so busted forever. People are going to start complaining. But what is cool is at least you can have diversity within Rogue. There's all these different archetypes for Rogue, and they're all busted. I'm going to feature 3 of them. I'm not going to feature Quest Rogue in this list. I'm only featuring 4 decks. These are the things I see the most commonly at high legend. So you can see next, what is the next most common? It's Mage. And you might think, Ping Mage? No, that's garbage. You watch my beta broken. I said it was bad. And it was interesting. The first 2 days, we saw a lot of Ping Mage. And I remember in my chat, people were like, well, you haven't played the right version of the deck. No, it's terrible. It's garbage, and it doesn't hold up. Now, you can have a great time. Sorry. I don't want you guys to think like you can play Ping Mage. Like you can have a great time, have a beer or non-alcoholic beverage if you're below 21, of course, or 18 in Europe, and enjoy your Ping Mage and watch as Mozaki Mages and Rogues just wreck you. But that being said, you can do that. It's but it's a terrible deck. Nobody's playing it anymore. It died off after like day 2. So it's all Mozaki Mages and Rogues. That's about like almost all I play. Now you can see I have some other classes. This is mainly Face Hunter. Face Hunter is kind of looking to prey on both Poison Rogue and Mage. So it does it decently in high legend meta. I'm not going to include that list because it's pretty easy to find. But I'm going to, and then there's Fel DH. Nobody's playing, pretty much the only archetype I'm seeing is Fel DH. Nobody is playing Death Rattle DH. Nobody's playing Quest DH. And then Druid, it's actually mostly Gov Druid. And I think that's going to die off. The Malagos Druid archetype is a little bit there, but mostly people are playing Gov Druid, and it's a very easy win for a lot of decks. I don't think that deck is very good. Habu Gabu got number 1 legend with it, but I don't think it's going to hold up. I'm guessing he was doing well against a certain deck and just farming sometimes. So there's so few players in top 100 legend. If you happen to counter a deck that like 2 or 3 players are playing, you can sometimes get number 1 legend with a bad deck. I don't think Quest Druid is a good deck. And there's a decent amount of Shaman, and that's mainly Bulner, OTK, and free Shaman versions, which are kind of a very similar archetype with a different win condition. I'm not seeing much burn shaman. Oh, also, I am seeing a decent amount of like elemental, aggro elemental shaman. That's probably about 20% or 30% of those shamans, but I'm not seeing any of the burn shaman. And you can see barely any warlocks and warriors, and that's part of the reason. Um, Demon Hunter, I thought Demon Hunter would be doing because there's not that much paladin. This is modest representation, but the reality is the meta kind of switched to Mozaki Mage and Rogue, and they will now the Thief Rogue FLDH can do quite well against, but against Garrote and against Poison Rogue, Fel has a lot of trouble. So you can do double tech weapon, but Mozaki is also going to be really really tough for the FLDH archetype. So FLDH is a really good deck that the meta has it's crushing all the decks that aren't doing well. So the problem is you want to be a deck that actually crushes the best decks, because the problem is if you're crushing the not as good decks like Warlock and Warlock, well, chances are people are going to stop playing those decks and they're going to play other decks. So FLDH is often like this because it crushes aggro so bad that it's and it crushes that it's hard to keep playing it. So then the meta kind of warps from there. So it's hard for FLDH to be the most popular deck. So, but yeah, I just thought this was interesting, just looking at what people are actually playing. And you can see Rogue, Rogue, Rogue. So I've got 3 Rogue lists that are all lists that people have got a number 1 legend with, and I've got a Mozaki Mage list. Mozaki Mage, what's interesting, these are not decks. I pretty much recommend none of these decks for beginners. They're all hard decks to play. Now, I think as an intermediate player, Thief Rogue is a pretty good archetype. I don't recommend it for beginners, but as an intermediate player, going on advanced, it's a pretty decent archetype. It's not as hard as Garrote Rogue. I don't recommend Poison Rogue for sort of beginner intermediate players because it kind of throws away the traditional rules of Hearthstone of tempo, of like minions mainly. It doesn't play minions for the most part, so it plays very differently than sort of a typical aggressive deck. But yeah, so let me show you. I'm going to show you the list of high legend decks. Like I said, I don't recommend these for beginners. I'm actually going to have another video coming out at the beginning of the month where I talk about lists that get to legend that have good stats on the climb to legend that I recommend for beginners and intermediate players. Like I said, if you're a beginner and intermediate player, these are not the decks to play, but this is what I'm seeing. So first, this is a Garrote Rogue that Brutal got number 1 legend with. I think it's the same list as Drevi was playing. Nothing to see here. It's been done. Then we got this list. Robot Wizard actually got the number 1 legend playing against me. He was ranked 2 legend, and he got his final game against me to get number 1 legend with this deck. And he's running Restaurant Viper Tech because it seems like there's so much, to beat the mirror, I'm guessing. But yeah. And what this is interesting is that you can even beat paladins with this because you can sap their guys, you can win with Garrote, and you can ooze their weapons. So if you're a good player, you can even beat a paladin with this list. The scabs is so good that it can make this deck that normally would just get wrecked by Divine Shield taunts a winnable matchup. I think the thing that crushes this deck is probably Face Hunter. But yeah, so very, very strong archetype. I'm seeing it everywhere at, like at top 20 legend. It's a very, very common deck. And finally, this is the last rogue archetype I'm featuring. This is Jay Alexander's list. I already figured the cute rogue that says Okla got rank 2 legend. Like I said, you can pretty much put 30 cards in with scabs, and it seems like you can get number 1 legend with. This is the Thief Rogue, and this is really, really, really strong. Jay Alexander just got number 1 legend with it yesterday. Just really, really strong deck, and it's everywhere. Just kind of getting those Wild Paw Nulls, those double agents, and kind of just doing a lot of the traditional tempo tools. And this one of the things that I didn't like about the other one, it didn't have wicked stabs. Wicked stabs just seemed like it make it a lot easier to finish an opponent than just having smite. So that's probably the thing I like the most. Even though I do like the cute archetype. It is fun. And finally, I got a Mozaki Mage list. This is what I see. Pretty much, I'm playing Jay Huang on ladder all the time, and he's playing this list, and he's kicking my ass. Unless I'm not really playing the decks that beat this. It's annoying. But this deck is a really hard deck to play. He's only running one fire sale, but yeah, it's a very hard deck to play. There's a lot of fancy things to it. I'm not good at this deck. There's all these, like, sometimes you actually tempo out Mozaki and just hope they don't have it to play around Mutinous. There's all these really, really fancy plays you can do with the deck if you're really, really good at it. This is probably the least beginner-friendly deck out of all the ones I said. It's easy. No, it's not. I don't have a good win rate with it when I play it, and I'm a top 100 Legend player. It's not an easy deck to play. It's very combo-oriented. It's very APM-based. You could say it's solitaire, but it's hard solitaire. So very difficult deck to play. So anyways, those are the 4 decks I'm seeing the most at the high legend. I've got deck codes below. Like I said, I got another video I'm gonna come out later this week where I just talk about decks to get to legend with, and they're very different. I don't recommend any of these for a beginner or intermediate player who's trying to get to legend. These are, matter of fact, if you're going to play a rogue deck to get to legend, play Quest Rogue, which I'm not featuring here. I will be featuring that list, Quest Rogue League, in the beginner list. So anyways, hope you guys like that and found that interesting, and the list, like I said, below in the comments.